Yo, what's up? Welcome back to Babel on Talmud. Today's an exciting day. We're starting the Perek klall gadol. We're learning Daf Samach Ches of Masechta Shabbos. We're starting the 7th Perek klall gadol. Why is this an exciting day? It's an exciting day because klall gadol is like where a lot of the Shabbos stuff kind of starts happening. Right? What are this Perek is going to talk about the 39 melachos of Shabbos, right? We've been talking about malacha on Shabbos. What are these 39 melachos? Well, in a few days, we're going to learn about 39 melachos. And already today, we're starting to talk about what does it mean to be b'shogeg? What does it mean to be hayav a korban hatas? These are things that we've obviously been talking about so far in Masechta Shabbos, but, we haven't really, when you think of Shabbos, you think of Shabbos, think of malachas, you think of how exactly are you, Shomer Shabbos, and all these kinds of things, it's taken 67 pages of Masechta Shabbos to get into who's chayav a korban chatas, and what does it mean to be chayav a korban chatas, and all these things. So, I think it's pretty cool, get into some Shabbos, some real kind of Shabbos-y kind of things. I don't know, maybe I'm just excited. But maybe you guys are too. I can't tell right now. Anyways, let's go weiter. So let's do a quick overview before we begin. So we start off the new Perek with a Mishnah, and that Mishnah basically talks about who is chayav a korban chatas on Shabbos, and how many korban chatases will they be chayav. And then, so we'll do in the recap, more of the details in the Gemara. But one of the things that it talks about is the concept of a Tinok shenishbah, which is interesting as well. Tinok shenishbah is a person who as a young child was taken to sort of non-Jewish people and therefore just didn't know anything about Judaism and halacha. So what are the halachos? Does he have to bring a korban chatas later on? I guess if he finds out at some point. All right, let's get started. So Daf Samach Zayin Amud Beis towards the bottom at the Mishnah, new Perek. Klall gadol amu b'Shabbos. So they said a klall gadol, a big rule on Shabbos. And the Gemara, the first thing the Gemara is going to ask is, what does it mean a big rule? Why not just a rule? Kol hashochech ikar Shabbos v'asam lachos harbe b'Shabbosos harbe eno chayav ela chatas achas. Okay, so what this means is that somebody who just completely forgot about Shabbos, meaning, I don't mean that he forgot about Shabbos today. He forgot that there's something called Shabbos. He just completely forgot about Shabbos. You say, hey, you ever heard of Shabbos? Nope, never heard of Shabbos. And all along, every Shabbos he's been doing all sorts of malacha. So at a later point, let's say he finds out and he's like, whoa, wait, Shabbos? I've been doing it all wrong. So then, for everything is, all the malachas he's been doing on all the Shabboses, he's been doing them on one korban chatas, right? Because, the theme is going to be, identifying the point of failure. I don't know, it's kind of what I'm calling it for myself, right? What's the point of failure? And in this point, what is the shogeg that he did? There's basically one shogeg that he did, which was that he made a mistake about this whole concept of Shabbos, right? Yeah, so, he didn't even know about any of these malachas, right? I don't know, I wouldn't even go that far, but basically, he didn't know about this thing called Shabbos. That was his mistake. So he brings one korban chatas for that mistake. Now, hayodeh ikar Shabbos, v'asa melachos harbe b'Shabbosos harbe chayav kol Shabbos v'Shabbos. Now, somebody who knows about Shabbos, he knows. If you say hey, Reuven, you know what Shabbos is? Yeah, of course, Shabbos, right? Once a week, I know, right? There's 39 malachos, we don't do them. But he makes a mistake, and for some reason he gets confused with the days of the week, and I don't know, maybe he thinks that Friday is actually Shabbos, and he thinks that Shabbos is Sunday, and then he ends up, he doesn't know that it's Shabbos that day, he thinks it's Sunday, and he does all sorts of malachos. So here the point of failure, again, he knows all the hilchos Shabbos. He knows that you can't do all the malachos on Shabbos, but he just didn't know one thing. That one thing that he didn't know is that today was Shabbos. So he has to bring a korban chatas for that mistake. That one mistake that he made is that he thought it was Sunday. So for that, he brings one korban chatas, but this is going to be for every single Shabbos, right? Let's say for over the course of a month, somehow he kept on making this mistake and thinking that Shabbos was really Sunday, right? And he kept on doing malacha on Shabbos over the course of a month, so he would bring 4 korban chatases. And Rashi says because it's kind of impossible for him to, not, over the course of a month, for him not to realize at some point, like, oh, wait a second, yesterday was Shabbos. And therefore, he's going to bring a korban chatas, 1 chatas per Shabbos that he confused with Sunday. Shabbos. Now, somebody who knows that it's Shabbos, right? Every Saturday, say, hey man, you know what day today is? Yeah, it's Shabbos. So he knows it's Shabbos. But the thing is, he doesn't know all 39 melachos. Maybe he only knows like 34 of them. And every single Shabbos, maybe he doesn't know that cooking eggs on Shabbos morning is not allowed. And therefore, every Shabbos morning, he wakes up, makes eggs, has a nice breakfast. And not only does he do that, he also, plows his field, whatever it is. He does a few different malachas every single Shabbos. He knows it's Shabbos. He didn't know that these things were malachas. So basically, he made 5 mistakes, right? There are these 5 malachos that he didn't know, and every Shabbos he would do them. So basically, every Shabbos, he would make 5 mistakes. So he brings 5 korban chatases for those 5 mistakes, right? Meaning he knew it was Shabbos, so he doesn't have to bring anything for the fact, there's no mistake about the fact that it was Shabbos. The mistake was these 5 melachos, right? He made a mistake regarding each of these 5 melachos. So he brings korban for each of those 5 melachos. And, if he does this every single Shabbos, he makes himself eggs and does a few other things. Still, you only bring 1 korban chatas for all of those mistakes because in between he didn't know, right? Whereas, like, when he messed up the days of the week and he thought that Shabbos was really Sunday, so in that case, we assume he must have known in between, and therefore he has to, he must have found out at some point that, like, the day is not the day that he thinks it is. So, therefore, for every Shabbos that he messed up, he brings 1 korban for the whole Shabbos. And when he knows that it's Shabbos, and there are these 5 melachos that he just didn't know about, even though he does them every single Shabbos until he finds out about them, he still only has to bring a total of, let's say, 5 korbanos if it was 5 melachos that he did. He doesn't have to bring 1 per Shabbos because we assume that until he finds out that he has no way of knowing. One day he's going to go and he's going to learn, he's going to find out that these 5 melachos are actually not allowed on Shabbos, so then he'll realize like, oh, oops, and he'll bring a korban for each one. But we don't assume that, in between each Shabbos, he found out that they're asur and then he forgot about them again. So therefore you just bring 1 korban for each of those melachos, each of those av melachos that you did, right? We've had the concept of av melacha and tolada come up a little bit here and there. Basically, there are parent categories and subcategories of melacha, right? So the parent would be called the av, and those are based on, as Rashi points out, those are based on the melachos that they did in the Mishkan. Then there are tolados, like sort of children of those avos. Those are things that are similar to the avos, and they have the same severity as an av melacha. If you do it by accident, you have to bring a korban chatas. The thing is, the nafka mina is, as we're about to see in the Mishnah, if you do an av and a tolada, if you do an av melacha and one of the things that are similar to it, so instead of bringing 2 korbanos, you'd only have to bring 1 because it's all considered kilo the same family. But if you do a tolada from like family A and a tolada from family B, you would still bring 2 korban chatases, right? A tolada is not any less strict than an av. So the Mishnah concludes, ha'osa melachos harbe me'ein melacha achas eno chayv ela chatas achas. If somebody does a bunch of malachos, but it's all within the same kilu family, let's say you do 1 av and like 3 tolados, so you did a total of 4 malachas, you would only bring 1 korban chatas because it was all from the same av malacha. Did everybody get that? Did I explain that clear enough? I don't know. Let me know if you have any kashas, but I hope it's clear enough. Says the Gemara, my time tana klall gadol. How come the Mishnah had to say it's a big rule? It's a big rule. Why not just a rule? What's a big rule? So if it's because in 2 Mishnahs from now, Mishnah Gimel of the 7th Perek, it says ve'od klall acher, right? That there's another rule when it comes to Shabbos, and therefore since there's another rule later on, so this is the big rule and that's the other rule. Okay, fine. Right, so if we're going to say, well, because there's another rule, so Tana klall gadol, so it says that this is the big rule, then the other rule is just the other rule. V'gab Shvius nami, and also by Shvius, right, in the 7th parak of the Mishnayos of Shvius. So it says the first Mishnah of the 7th parak is klall gadol amu b'Shvius, and then the second Mishnah in the 7th parak of Shvius is ve'od klall acher, and they also said another klall, and that's why also over there. So you have the first Mishnah that says klall gadol, then the following Mishnah that talks about a klall acher is just the klall acher, right? Klall acher, tana klall gadol. So by Shvius also, since the second Mishnah of the 7th Perek says od klall acher, so therefore the first Mishnah of the 7th Perek says klall gadol. Fine. But what about by Meiser? If you look, I believe it's the first Perek of Masechta Meisris, the katane od klall acher, that it says over there in that first Mishnah of right, the first Mishnah I believe of Masechta Meisris. Although we can actually just look it up, or maybe we can't. No, I don't think it quotes it. Or maybe we can. I don't know. Maybe it quotes it later on. Yeah, I think it's So it is it's the first Mishnah of Masechta Meisris. So in that Mishnah, right? So it starts off by saying klall amru b'meisris. Doesn't say klall gadol. It says klall amru b'meisris, and then like a line later it says ve'od klall acher. So if we're trying to establish a pattern here, that whenever it says od klall acher, well then the klall that comes before that, it's going to say klall gadol. Well, that pattern is not going to match up in meisris where it says ve'od klall acher, and it didn't say klall gadol before that. Right? So, v'haga b'maiser, the katani od klall acher, v'lo tani klall gadol. Yet it doesn't before that say klall gadol. So, this is not a good explanation for why it says over here klall gadol. Amar Yossi bar Avin, Shabbis u'shviyas de'isbu avis v'tolades, tana gadol, maiser delays ba'avis v'tolados, lo tana klall gadol. So, Rav Yossi bar Avin wants to explain that, well, okay, here's the thing. By Shabbos, obviously we have the concept of Av Melacha and Tolados. Guess what? Also by Shvius, there's the concept of certain Melachas on Shvius that you don't do, and they are Avos Melachos. And there would be their own Tolados as well, Shvius of course being Shemitah, right? So therefore, since by Shabbos and by Shvius we have Avos and we have Tolados, that's why they have this thing called klall gadol, whereas by Meisris don't have avos and tolados, so therefore it just says klall. We don't see klall gadol anywhere. But the Gemara asks the kasha, levar kapare. What about according to bar kapare? Ditani klall gadol b'maiser, my avos u'may tolados ika. But one second, bar kapare apparently he has a tosefta regarding Meisris, and in that tosefta he says klall gadol by Meiser as well. And if we're going to say that we only say klall gadol in a context where there's avos and tolados, well, can somebody explain to me what the avos and tolados for Meisris would be? No, you can't, because there are none. And therefore, how could it be that bar kapare would say klall gadol in the context of Meisris if there are no avos and tolados? So elalav hainu taima. Okay, so the reason for klall gadol is not connected at all to avos and tolados. Ella gadol oncho shel Shabbos yoser mishel shvius. Okay, rather, the reason why it says klall gadol by Shabbos and by Shvius is because whenever we say gadol, klall gadol, it's relative. Any place where we say klall gadol, it means that, its rules, and therefore its punishments for violating its rules, apply to a broader range, to a larger group of melachos, okay? And therefore, Shabbos, let's actually just read it. So let's allow the Gemara to explain itself. So, Ela gadol oncho shel Shabbos yoser mishel shvius. So if we look at the sort of range of activities to which there are punishments associated with them on Shabbos, you will find that there are punishments associated with more melachos for Shabbos than there are for Shemitah, for Shvius. The ilu Shabbos isa bein betalosh bein b'mechubar, because when it comes to Shabbos, okay, the melachos of Shabbos apply both to things that were connected to the ground when Shabbos started, as well as to things that were already harvested when Shabbos started. Examples of things that are connected to the ground, well, let's just take a wheat stalk. when it's connected to the ground, you cannot harvest it on Shabbos. Even if it was harvested before Shabbos, you wouldn't be able to grind it up and make it into flour and all that stuff on Shabbos, right? So the malachas of Shabbos apply both to things that were connected to the ground as well as to those that were already harvested before Shabbos. Whereas by Shemitah, when Shemitah starts, we take a snapshot and we say anything that is connected to the ground when Shemitah starts, Shemitah applies to it. Anything that has already been harvested, don't worry about it. It's already been harvested before Shemitah. You can do whatever you want with it. So we see that the malachos of Shabbos apply to a broader range of activities than, or broader context than Shemitah does. So that's why we say klall gadol by Shabbos, because its range of malachos that you would be hayav for violating is broader than something else, which is Shemitah. Now, Shemitah as well, it says gadol because its malachos are broader than something else, right? V'gadol onsha shel shvius yoser min hamaiser. And now shvius says klall gadol because its sort of range of activities that there will be punishments for is broader than the range of things that there will be punishments for by meiser. The ilu shvius isa bein b'meichel adam bein b'meichel behema v'ilu meiser b'meichel adam isa b'meichel behema lesa. Because by shvius, Shemitah applies both to foods that are eaten by people as well as to foods that will be eaten by animals. V'ilu meiser b'meichel adam isa b'meichel behema lesa. Whereas meiser applies to foods for people, but it doesn't apply to foods for animals. And that is why it says klall gadol by shvius, because its sort of punishments apply to a wider range of activities than meiser. Ulevar kapara ditani klall gadol b'meiser, and even according to bar kapara, who has the girsa of klall gadol when it comes to meiser, well, that's because there's a wider range of malachos that there are punishments for by meiser more so than by something else, which is peah. Klall gadol b'meiser, gadol onsho shel meiser yoser mishel peah. That the punishments for meiser are more than there are for peah. Te'ilu meiser isa b'te'ena v'yerek v'ilu peah lesa b'te'ena v'yerek. Because meiser applies also to figs and to vegetables, but peah does not apply to figs and vegetables. What's peah? Peah is when you the obligation to leave the corner of your field for poor people. Okay, so that does not apply to figs and vegetables. Titnan, as we learn in the Mishnah, klall amu b'peah. They said a klall by peah, not a klall gadol, just a klall by peah. Kol shu ochel, anything that is food, and we're going to talk about what these things come to exclude. V'nishmar, and it's guarded. V'gidulo min aretz, and it goes from the ground. U'likitaso ka'achas, and you harvest them all at the same time, as opposed to sporadically. U'machniso l'kiyum, and you put it away to preserve. Chayav b'peah, it's chayav in peah. Ochel limute sviche sitim v'kotza. So when it says ochel, it's coming to exclude the aftergrowths of sitim v'kotza. Sitim v'kotza are things that you use to make dyes, okay? So, and aftergrowths are things that you don't plant yourself, they just kind of grow on their own. So these aftergrowths of these type of things that are plants that are used for dyes, so they would be excluded from peah. V'nishmar, and that's to be guarded, limute hefker. To exclude hefker. Hefker is not chayav in peah. Okay? V'gidulo min haaretz, and it has to grow from the ground. Lemute kmeinu fitrios, to exclude mushrooms and truffles, right? As we learned about in Masechta Brachos, that we say shakol ne'ev dvaro, because they don't actually grow from the ground. U'likitasu ka'achas, and you harvest them all at one time. Lemute te'ena, to exclusion of figs, right? You don't just harvest all your figs at one time. You harvest the figs when they're ready. Umachniso l'kiyum, and you put it away for storage, limute yerek, to exclude vegetables. V'ilu gami meiser tanan, what does it say by meiser? Klall amru b'maiser, they said by maiser kol shu ochel, if it's food, v'nishmar, and it's guarded, v'gidulo min haaretz, chayav b'maiser, and it grows from the ground, then it's chayav b'maiser, v'ilu likitaso kachos machniso l'kiyum lo tanan. But it doesn't say over there anything about having to harvest them all at once, or having to be, putting them in for kiyum. So therefore, those would be included in maiser, even though they would be excluded from peah. So we see that sort of the punishment categories by maiser are broader than they are by peah, and that is why bar kapara can use the word gadol by maiser as well. So that seems to be the conclusion there, that as long as there are more punishments by this thing, by this topic, than there are by some other topic, you can apply gadol. Rav Shmuel, the Amrei Tarvayu. Now, Rav and Shmuel both say, Masnisin, Tinok shenishbah, levein anachrim. So Rav and Shmuel both say that our Mishnah is talking about a Tinok shenishbah, levein anachrim, a baby who has been taken captive by the Gentiles and did not know anything about Judaism or Shabbos. V'gershin is gai levein anachrim. And a convert who converted among converts, which seems to be extremely interesting, right? Meaning, it's not like, what does this even mean? It seems extremely interesting. Meaning, generally, I think we would assume that, somebody who's converting to Judaism is converting to Judaism, because he's interested in Judaism, he wants to know the halachas, he's going to learn the halachas, he's going to be among Jewish people. If after all he wants to become part of this Jewish community, I assume that he would be around Jews. But this is somebody who somehow was able to convert to Judaism without being around any Jews, and even after he converted, he still didn't know any halachas, which I think also we generally assume that in order to convert, you have to be willing to accept some form of halacha. I don't know, it seems like a very interesting case. Anyways, so our Mishnah said, what did our Mishnah say? Who can remind me? Klall gadol amru b'Shabbos, right? We said a great rule about Shabbos called shochech ikar Shabbos v'asam lachos hayav b'Shabbos u'sarbe eno chayav lechatas achas. Anybody who forgot the ikar of Shabbos, he just basically completely forgot about Shabbos. All of a sudden he doesn't know what Shabbos is, and because of this, he did a whole bunch of malachos and a whole bunch of Shabboses. He's only chayav one korban chatas. Now, Rav and Shmuel want to say that is talking about not somebody who knew about Shabbos and maybe got in a car accident and forgot about it, whatever it is. No, this is talking about somebody who never knew what Shabbos was in the first place. This is talking about somebody who, as a baby, ended up growing up in a household where, they were not Jewish and there was absolutely no concept of Shabbos. So in that case, if let's say later on at some point they realize that they're Jewish and they want to be shomer halacha and they want to bring a korban, so they would bring, or whatever, they want to be shomer halacha, so then they would bring a korban for all of those Shabboses when they had no clue. So Rav Shmuel Damar Tarbayu Masnisim Tinok shenishbah levein anachrim v'gershin is gai levein anachrim. So Rav and Shmuel say that our Mishnah, that it says that you only bring one korban chatas, is talking about these situations where we have a person who just never knew anything about Shabbos. Aval hikir levasov shachach. What about somebody who did know about Shabbos and he was shomer Shabbos for many years? Let's say somehow he forgot about Shabbos. Can't tell you how. Somehow he completely forgot about Shabbos, and from the time that he forgot, every Shabbos he just wasn't shomer Shabbos at all. He was doing all sorts of malachas because he just somehow forgot. So chayav al kol Shabbos v'Shabbos. Rav and Shmuel want to argue that this individual would be chayav one korban per Shabbos. Why? You would be chayav one korban per Shabbos. So the Gemara asks the kasha, Tanana shochech ikar Shabbos. 1 second. Rav Shmuel, you want to say that our Mishnah, when you'd be chayav one korban chatas, is talking about a Tinok shenishbah, somebody who never knew about Shabbos? Doesn't the Mishnah say hashocheach ikar Shabbos? Doesn't the Mishnah say somebody who forgot about ikar Shabbos? Doesn't that imply that he initially knew what Shabbos was and then he forgot it? Lo. Rav and Shmuel say no. What does it mean, somebody who forgot Shabbos? It means that it was always forgotten from him. He never knew it. that's when he's chayav one korban total. But if he knew about Shabbos and then he forgot about Shabbos, my hayav al kol Shabbos v'Shabbos, he'd be chayav one korban per Shabbos. That's what Rav and Shmuel want to argue. That somebody who knew about Shabbos and then forgot about Shabbos. So it'd be, meaning he completely forgot about Shabbos. You ask him, hey dude, you know what Shabbos is? No, I don't. So he'd be chayav a korban for each one of those Shabboses. But then the Gemara says, one second. But Adatani ayodea ikar Shabbos v'asam malachos hayav b'Shabbosos hayav chayav kol Shabbos v'Shabbos listen ikar v'sov shachach v'kol shekein ha. Okay, let me read that slowly. But if that's the case, so Adatani ayodea ikar Shabbos, right? The next case that the Mishnah says is somebody who ayodea ikar Shabbos. He knows about Shabbos. If you say, hey bro, you know what Shabbos is? Yeah, of course, I know what Shabbos is once a week, right? 39 malachos, we don't do them. However, somehow he messed up the days of the week, and what ended up happening was every Shabbos he ended up doing malacha because he thought it was Sunday. He did a whole bunch of malachos on a whole bunch of Shabbos just because he totally screwed up and he didn't realize that it was Shabbos on the day that he was doing these malachos. Chayav kol Shabbos v'Shabbos, and he's chayav one korban per Shabbos. Well, lisnei hikir v'sov shachach v'kol shekein ha. Why doesn't the Mishnah instead say an even better case? Which is somebody who completely, he knew about Shabbos originally, and then he completely forgot about Shabbos, and because of that he was doing malacha on Shabbos every single Shabbos. And we're saying that in that case he would be chayav a korban for each and every Shabbos, according to Rav and Shmuel. Well, so then listen to that case, and then certainly in a case where a guy does know about Shabbos, he totally knows what Shabbos is, he just somehow messed up the days of the week and he ended up doing malacha on Shabbos just because he didn't realize it was Shabbos, well certainly he's going to bring a korban for every single Shabbos. If in a case where he didn't even know at this point what Shabbos is, he has to bring a korban for every Shabbos, certainly when he knows what Shabbos is and he does malacha every single Shabbos by accident, so then he'll have to bring a korban for each Shabbos. So the Gemara says, well actually, my hayodea ikar Shabbos, misha yodea ikar shel Shabbos v'shachacha. Well, actually, when the Mishnah says that somebody who knows what Shabbos is, and he does malacha every Shabbos, it's actually talking about somebody who originally knew what Shabbos is, and then forgot about what Shabbos is, and that's why he's doing malacha every single Shabbos. So then he brings a malacha for every single Shabbos, aval, lo shachacha mai, chayav al kol malacha u'malacha. However, if somebody did not forget about what Shabbos is, i.e. if they know what Shabbos is, they just messed up the day of the week, and then they end up doing malacha every single Shabbos just because they thought it was Sunday, you'd be chayav for every single malacha that you do. Okay. But then the Gemara asks, Adatani hayodea shu Shabbos v'asa malachos haybe b'Shabbosos haybe. Then we move on to the next clause in the Mishnah, which says that somebody who knows that today is Shabbos, and he did a whole bunch of malachas on a whole bunch of Shabbos because he didn't realize that these were malachas. So he knows it's Shabbos, but he made a mistake by a bunch of different malachas because he didn't know that they were malachas. So we say chayav kol malacha, that he's going to be chayav for each and every malacha that he did because he made a mistake with each malacha. But lesnei ayodea ikar Shabbos v'chol shekein ha. But why don't you say the bigger chiddush, which is somebody who even knows that these malachas are malachas on Shabbos, right? His only mistake that he did, his only mistake that he made was that he just didn't realize that today was actually Shabbos, and yet we're saying that he's supposed to bring a korban for every single malacha that he did, even though the only mistake that he made was really one mistake, which is that he just didn't realize that today was actually Shabbos, and yet we're saying that he has to bring a malacha for every korban for every malacha that he did. So teach that case, and then certainly when he knows that it's Shabbos and he just didn't know that these things were malachos, so he basically made a mistake with each of these malachas, certainly then he'd have to bring a malacha for each one. Ella masnisin k'shehikir levasov shachach. Okay, so basically, as I think you guys might be able to tell, it's going to be a little bit hard to kind of make this work with our Mishnah. It's just, I'm probably not the only one who's considering this to be a little complicated, right? Basically, we're saying that you're only chayav one korban when you're a Tinok shenishbah or a ger shenizgayer l'socha hanachrim. And then we basically have to kind of say that each case isn't actually talking about that case, it's talking about a different, it's becoming a little messy, right? So let's clean this up. The Gemara is going to clean this up for us. Ella, Masnisin, what's our Mishnah talking about? When do you bring only one korban for all of the Shabbases and all the malachas? Kishehikir l'vesov shachach. When he knew what Shabbos was, when he knew what Shabbos is, somehow he forgot what Shabbos is, and now he no longer knows what it is. And now every Shabbos, he's doing all sorts of malachas. So he brings one korban for all of the Shabboses and all of the malachas. And now, with Rav Ushmuel, Nami, ki hikir ulvesov shachach dami. And what Rav and Shmuel are saying is that a Tinok shenishbah and a ger shenizgayer levein anachrim, they're treated just like somebody who knew what Shabbos is, and then forgot. I.e., in all of these cases, somebody who knew what Shabbos is and then forgot, or a Tinok shenishbah who never knew what Shabbos is, or a ger shenizgayer levein anachrim who never knew what Shabbos is. In all of these cases, you're going to be chayav to bring one korban. As opposed to, as we're going to see in a minute, Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish, who say that a Tinok shenishbah and a ger shenizgayer levein anachrim doesn't have to bring a korban at all, because he never knew, right? It doesn't have to be, he's an ones. He's somebody, who's completely beyond his control. So they would say that he doesn't have to bring any korban. Rav and Shmuel say that we would treat a Tinok shenishbah and a ger shenizgayer like a misha, right? Somebody who knew about Shabbos and then forgot. This is what Rav and Shmuel are saying. Rav Shmuel Damar Tarvayu Afilu Tinok shenishbah ben anachrim v'ger shenizgayer levein anachrim, that even a Tinok shenishbah and a ger shenizgayer levein anachrim, where you can argue that, well, why should they have to bring a korban chatas? They never knew it in the first place. Kihikir l'vesov shachach dami v'chayiv, we nonetheless treat them as though they initially knew and then forgot, and they're chayiv a korban chatas. One korban chatas for all the Shabbos and all the malachas. Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, Damir Tarvayu, Davka hikir l'vesov shachach. So Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish say that, no, you're only chayiv a korban chatas when you initially knew and then forgot. Aval Tinok shenishbah ben anachrim v'ger shenizgayer levein anachrim pater. But a child that was taken captive among the Gentiles, or a convert who converted among the Gentiles, i.e. somebody who never knew in the first place what Shabbos even is, pater from a korban, because they had no way of knowing that these malachas were not allowed on Shabbos. Meisvei, we have a kasha on Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish. Klall gadol amu b'Shabbos, they said a great rule by Shabbos. Kol shochech ikar Shabbos, anybody who forgets about Shabbos, forgets about what Shabbos is, v'asa malachos harbe b'Shabbosos harbe, and did lots of malachos and lots of Shabboses, eino chayiv ela achas, he's only chayiv one korban chatas total. Ketzad, what is this person who forgets about the ikar Shabbos? Tinok shenishbah levein anachrim v'ger shenizgayer ben anachrim. A Tinok shenishbah and a ger shenizgayer, we say are chayiv to bring a korban chatas. V'asa malachos harbe b'Shabbosos harbe eino chayiv ela chatas achas. And he did all sorts of malachas and all sorts of Shabboses, he's only chayiv to bring one korban chatas. V'chayiv al adam, and also any blood that he's eaten throughout his life, he's chayiv one korban chatas. Ve'ala chelev achas, and any chelev, any of these forbidden fats. I feel like this has come up in the past. So these forbidden fats that you're not allowed to eat, that you're chayiv karis if you eat them on purpose. So any chelev he's eaten throughout his life, he's going to be chayiv one korban chatas for all of it. V'ala zara achas, and for any avodah zara he may have done by accident, he's going to be chayiv korban chatas, one korban chatas. Umunbaz poter. Yet this, I guess a Tana named Munbaz, he says that the Tinok shenishbah and the ger shenizgayer would be poter. They wouldn't have to bring any korban chatas at all. V'chachaya Munbaz dan lifnei Rabbi Akiva, And this is how, Munbaz was sort of explaining his position before Rabbi Akiva, why he would say that a Tinok shenishbah and a ger shenisgayer are pater. Well, since a mazid is called, somebody who does, who sins on purpose is called a chote, a sinner, and somebody who sins by accident is also called a chote. Well, ma mazid shaisa lo yediyah, af shogeg shaisa lo yediyah. Well, in order for you to be chayav for being a mazid, you have to have a yediyah, you have to know that you did it on purpose. Well, also in order to be chayav for something when you do it b'shogeg, you have to have known at least at some point, like this person who knew about Shabbos and then forgot about it. But a tinok shenishbah or a ger shenisgayer who never knew in the first place, well, they're not going to be chayav a korban chatas. Rabbi Akiva responded to Munbaz and he said, well, let me add onto what you're saying. Well, I'll argue that, well, a mazid, somebody does something on purpose, at what point does he have this yediyah? He even has this yediyah, this knowledge that what he's doing is wrong, at the time that he's doing it. So can I argue that in order to be chayav for shogeg, if you're comparing shogeg and mazid, wouldn't you say that, let's also take it one step further, say that somebody who does something by accident has to know at the time that he's doing it that he's doing something wrong? Okay, hold your obvious questions for a second. We'll get to it. Amar lo hein v'chol shekain shosafta. To which Munbaz says, yep, Rabbi Akiva, you're 100% right. Correct. For somebody who does something by accident to be chayav, you'd have to know that he's doing something wrong at the time. To which, I'm sure now this is a question that everyone's thinking, Amar lo Rabbi Akiva says to Munbaz, l'dvarecha ein zakari shogeg ela mazid. Well, somebody who does something by accident on purpose, it would be hard to argue that he's still doing it by accident if he knows that at the time that he's doing it, he's doing something wrong. Wouldn't that just be called mazid on purpose? Okay, and we don't seem to answer that, at least for now. I think we might answer it later, but new friends. So what are our questions over here? Our questions are that we said in defining basically the same thing that we said in our Mishnah, which is that somebody who knows about, who forgets about the Ikr Shabbos and does a lot of melachos, he's chayav one korban. So we said so this brisa says it's even talking about Tinok shenishbah and ger shenisgayer. So that sounds like Rav and Shmuel, and that would be a kasha for Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. So Katani Mia, this brisa taught Tinok. Wait, what? Katani Mia Ketzad Tinok. So they said, what is this Yodea Ikr Shabbos and nonetheless did all these things? It's a Tinok shenishbah. Bishlam Rav Shmuel Nicha. So this is perfectly in line with Rav and Shmuel, who say that Tinok shenishbah and ger shenisgayer would be chayav a korban chatas, just like somebody who knew about Shabbos and forgot. But according to Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish, they say that this Tinok shenishbah and the ger shenisgayer are pater. They don't have to bring a korban. What do they do with this brisa? Samilach, Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish, Lab Mika Munbaz the Pater, Anandaminan Kimunbaz. So Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish will say, well, I mean, there was the opinion after all of Munbaz in that brisa, who says that they would be Pater from bringing a korban chatas. So we all like Munbaz, which is an interesting thing to say, because why would they want to just like milchatchila say, yeah, we hold like the das yachid? I don't know. It's an interesting question. Maybe there's more to this brisa that we don't know yet. After all, Munbaz did have a sort of strange opinion, which was that, somebody who does something b'shogeg has to know that what he's doing is wrong, which basically makes it amazing. So it could be that there's more to this brisa that we have to unfold. But, okay. That's the opinion of Rav and Shmuel. They say that Tinok shenishbah ger shenisgayer would be chayav a korban chatas, whereas Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish said that he would be pater. And that's where we'll stop, friends. And that's Daf Samach Ches of Masechta Shabbos. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I mean, it's a cool kind of page, right? Kind of first step into like shogeg and mazid and korban chatas really in detail, even though we've been, talking about it throughout the Masechta, but here we're really jumping into it. So let's do a recap of the daf. So we started off the new Perek with a new Mishnah, okay? And basically the main gist of that Mishnah was who is chayav a korban chatas and how many of these korbanos are you chayav. So we started off by saying somebody who forgets the Iker Shabbos, without going into, for now, if that means Tinok shenishbah or not, whatever, but somebody who forgets about Shabbos, it definitely is talking about somebody who initially knew about Shabbos and then completely forgot about Shabbos. So he'd be chayav one korban chatas for all of the Shabbos that he violated and all of the malachas that he did on all of those Shabbos. One chiyuv chatas, because it was just basically he completely forgot about what Shabbos is and he never remembered. Nobody ever reminded him. He never remembered. So therefore he's only chayav one korban chatas. Now, if somebody forgets, somehow they mess up their days of the week, somehow, I don't know. And now, every single Shabbos, they know that there's a thing called Shabbos, but somehow every single Shabbos, they think it's Sunday. So you're going to be chayav a korban for each Shabbos that this happened, since we assume that at some point during the week, you must have realized that your days are off, and, retroactively, obviously, last Shabbos was, when you thought it was Sunday, it was really Shabbos, and you should have been back on track, whatever it is. So therefore, you bring a korban chatas for each Shabbos that you thought it was Sunday. Okay? Now, somebody who knows every Shabbos that it's Shabbos, and he knows that, we don't do malacha on Shabbos, but he wasn't an expert, he didn't know all the malachas. So he accidentally, every single Shabbos, did malachas. So he brings a total of korban chatos that equals the number of unique malachos that he did. He doesn't have to bring, per Shabbos, but, he adds up all the unique malachos that he did, and he brings one korban for each unique malacha. And we don't assume that, in the meantime, he knew the halachos in between, and, which would require him a new korban for each time that he violated the malachos. No, we assume that he just never learned the malachos, so he just brings one korban chatas for each of the things that each unique malacha that he did. And he'll do that once he has the aha moment and finds out, oops, I shouldn't have been doing that. So one korban for each unique malacha, but not through each unique violation of that malacha, just one per malacha. And finally, the Mishnah says that when you have, when you have families of malachas, right? I'm almost thinking about this as in my mind, it was Avram Goldstein and Avram, Schwartz. And then you have Yitzchak Goldstein and Yitzchak Schwartz, okay? So, you only bring one korban chatas for each family of malachas that you did. So if you did the Avram Schwartz malacha and the Yitzchak Schwartz malacha, so you only bring one korban chatas. But if you do the Avram Schwartz malacha and the Yitzchak Goldstein malacha, so then you'll bring two chatos. Is that clear to everyone? Anyways, fine. Now the Gemara starts off with how come it says klall gadol? What's so big about this klall? So we gave three potential answers. Only the last one is one that stuck. So the first one is, since in two Mishnayos from now, we're going to say klall acher, that there's a klall acher. So the fact that it says klall acher coming up, it must mean that this is a klall gadol. The problem is that by Maisris, it also says klall acher, and yet there's no klall gadol beforehand. So then Rabbi Yossi Bar Avin wanted to say, we say klall gadol whenever there's avot and toladot, okay? The problem is that Bar Kapara says avos and melachos. Bar Kapara says that klall gadol even by Meiser, and there's no avos and melachos by Meiser. So the Gemara concludes that, whenever this sort of topic has more punishments than a different topic, you'll say klall gadol by it. So therefore, since there are more punishments by Shabbos than there are by Shvius, so it's klall gadol. There's more punishments by Shvius than there are by Meiser, so it's a klall gadol, right? And then even Bar Kapara says klall gadol by Meiser, it's because there's no more punishments by Meiser than there are by Peah. Fine. Then we ended up by a discussion about Tinok shenishbah and Gershon is Gayer, people who never knew what Shabbos was in the first place. Rav and Shmuel say, in that case, when they find out about what Shabbos is, they would bring one korban chatas for all of the things for all of the, Shabbosos that they didn't know about, and just like somebody who knew about Shabbos and then forgot about it. And Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish say that you'd be patur from a korban chatas because, how you had no way of knowing, so you don't have to bring korban chatas. Okay, friends, I hope you guys enjoy that. Have a great, great day. I'll catch you all tomorrow.